everyone, and welcome back to the Bitch in My Brain podcast. My name is Josie. I hope everyone had a really good week and weekend. I know it was St. Patty's Day, so it was fun to see everyone who was celebrating, getting dressed up, drinking Guinness. Fun fact, I don't think I have ever tried Guinness. It looks delicious in some aspects, although I was never a beer girly. I was like mixed drinks, shots, all of the fun, crazy stuff. I couldn't get into beer. So I was living vicariously through all of the people who were drinking and posting it because, I can't handle it. So I like to observe rather than partake, at least in this time of my life when I'm trying to get shit figured out. But it was fun to see, everyone dressed up and going down to the parade and just taking some time to celebrate in whatever way you did. But I think we can all agree a little bit of celebration is very much needed in our current social climate. So props to you if you went and celebrated. My weekend was a touch different. I had my good friend and coach, Luz. She flew in from California, and we've known each other for, 2.5 years, and we've never met. She knows all of my, secrets and things that I'm working on, but Zoom is our main communication. So we made it a non-negotiable that we needed to see each other and hug each other and touch each other and just, and embrace each other. All of the words you can use for hug each other, I think I just used, but you guys get the point. And we also decided to host a little workshop at my house. She recently got certified in a new coaching model that is all about opening ourselves up to receiving and co-creating with the universe, all of the stuff that I eat up. So I invited some of my friends as well as my mom and my mother-in-law. At this point, I call her my mother-in-law because Sam and I have been together for 11 years. So at this point, we are integrated, and she truly is, my second mother. So she came, as well as my good friend and coach who I trained alongside, Claudia. She came as well. So we had a fun group, and it was all women. We had some snacks, some drinks, and it was just a really good time. And to be surrounded by them in that community was just so special because I was looking around and I just felt this unconditional love and support whizzing around me. And it made me think back to all of the effort in the last few years I have put into really curating a community that I am in alignment with and that makes me feel good and inspired when I'm around. So once I had that thought, then a secondary thought formed, and I had this flashback to a few years ago when I was so desperate to build a community. However, I wasn't very specific on the type of community that I was building. And basically, it boiled down to me just wanting everyone to like me. And the more people that liked me, the bigger my community, the better my community, all of that. And I was thinking about how ironic it is that I was so desperate for everyone to like me, when in reality, I knew for a fact that I didn't like everyone. And to be honest, I still don't like everyone. There are people in my life or certain aspects of my life, definitely not in my close inner circle, but there are people that are not my cup of tea. And that's kind of, sometimes I feel a little terrible saying that as a life coach because, you would get the feeling that I would love everyone and da 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 da. And that's just, it's not true. I do understand people. I have a better understanding. I can give a little bit more grace, but that definitely doesn't mean, I'm everyone's number one fan. I'm not. Whether that's like a celebrity or my neighbor, it's just, it's not possible. And once you're able to kind of think about it like that, you realize how unrealistic that expectation is for everyone to like you. And it's something that we're never gonna achieve. Like we aren't. And so I thought this week we can talk a little bit about coming to terms and really embracing the fact that not everyone is going to like you and that is okay. So a lot of times when we have the desire to be liked by everyone, we are actually searching for something in exchange. And a lot of times the things that we are searching for are validation or acceptance, as well as a good old ego boost. Like if you are friends with everyone and everyone loves you, of course that's going to be an ego boost. And of course you're going to eat that up. It's also a sense of safety. You are avoiding conflict in some ways when everyone likes you. And I've mentioned this in the past in previous episodes when I was talking about how there's always a payoff. We're always searching for something in return. And so our desire to have everyone like us in a way it's kind of our way of getting stuff in return. And a lot of the times when we are searching for that validation or that acceptance, we change our persona or we put on a specific mask that makes us more digestible to that person. So we may stretch the truth about the hobbies that we like to do, or we might say things that we normally wouldn't because we know that will elicit a good emotion in them. So we essentially, we water ourselves down so that we can be accepted and more palatable to people. And that's a shame because that robs us of our authenticity. That takes away from the person that we actually are. And as you know, I am the biggest advocate for authenticity and showing up as your true self. So when we change ourselves, I also like to think about it a little bit as a manipulation, because in a way we are manipulating that person to believe we are a certain way or act a certain way. So you're wanting this person to like you, but you're starting it off being a little bit of a manipulator. And we all have that quality in us. We all are manipulators in some aspects of our life. So I'm not necessarily dogging on the act of manipulation, but it's ironic in the circumstance where you're trying to connect with someone, but you're not being truthful, or you're being a little shady with the way you're showing up. So I like to think about it when we water ourselves down, we're giving ourselves away. We're giving our power away. And the worst part is when we're not able to get them to like us, then we believe that there's something wrong with us. Then we go and start beating ourselves up for not being this or not doing better in that. And so we essentially beat ourselves up for another person not liking us, which is a shame, because it's really important to note as well that a lot of times when we're forming friendships or we're meeting new people and we're wanting them to like us, we have to realize that not everyone is coming from a place of love. A lot of people are coming from a place of fear. And I've been one of these people that have operated from a place of fear when I've met new people. And the first kind of story that comes to mind is when I first went to college and we were moving into the dorms, and there was this girl who was across the hall from me. We were very, very similar. We liked the same music. We had very similar style. Like, there were so many similarities that you would think we would become best friends because we had so much in common. However, I was showing up from a place of feeling threatened because where I went to high school, I was kind of one of the more unique people at the school, and that's coming from a place of like, I didn't really dress like everyone else, and I smoked cigs, and there were so many aspects of my personality that she also had that it made me feel insecure, and she was essentially a threat to me. And the worst part is she was and is still one of the nicest people I have ever met. Very genuine, very soft-spoken, just overall a really great human. But because I was coming from a place of fear, I didn't like her at that time. Obviously, if you can't tell by the way I'm talking about her, and after, all this time, I can really appreciate the person that she is. But where I was, there was no way I was going to fully let her in and begin liking her. And that sounds so terrible, but it kind of backs up the fact that no matter what we do, she could have brought me donuts and like a Pretty Lights vinyl. And even then, I don't think that would have budged because I was coming from a place of fear instead of love. If I showed up from a place of love, I'm sure we would have been best friends because we had so much in common. But I wasn't willing to budge. So that's another point of proof that not everyone will like us, and a lot of times it's their shit, it's their insecurities. It was my lack of, self-worth because I was putting my self-worth and my value into the way I dressed, the music I listened to, how I operated at that time, and the personality that I had. And it's not fair for us to think that even if we show up as our best selves and try to make people happy, it's not gonna work. Like, it isn't. In times that I catch myself in that desire to have everyone like me, I go internal. You guys, I feel like you're going to hear me say it every week because that's what we have to do. We have to go into our inner worlds and take a pause and figure out, what to do next or how to move forward in the situation. And so the first question I always ask myself is, what am I actually looking for in this person? Am I looking for validation? Am I looking for approval? Am I looking for that ego boost? Really determining what's the root of my desire to make this person like me. And then I ask myself, where in my life is this need already being met? So I have friends that already exist. I have a support system that gives me that validation, that gives me that approval. So I'm able to really ground myself in the fact that what I'm searching for in this person, I already have. And that kind of lets me release that need to be liked by them. And then I can think of it as, if this person does like me, it's a bonus. It's another friendship that will give me those things, but it's not necessary. And that might sound a little tough because I do value and respect everyone in my life, but I've got a core group that I can rely on that can make me feel those emotions and supported. But having one more person to do that, yeah, it's great. It's a bonus, but it's not taking anything away from me. So it kind of moves me into this place of empowerment where it'll only get better when people like me, but it's not gonna take anything away. And it's gonna take some time and some practice because it's so ingrained into us. We've prided ourselves, or socially we're meant to pride ourselves on the amount of friends we have and the amount of admiration we have. But ultimately it's not in service anymore, and we can shift our subconscious operating system into our conscious operating system. And what's really been special about releasing the need for everyone to like me, I've really been able to curate a community, a very intentional community filled with people that I actually align with, that I trust, that have similar hobbies, that I know are not showing up with a mask on, as well as I'm not feeling the need to show up with a mask on. And this curation of people that allow me to be my most authentic self. And as I said at the beginning, that is my biggest goal, is to just be able to show up as my true self unapologetically. And I trust that the universe will lead me to the right people, as well as repel the people that may not be in service of where I want to go in life or where I am going currently. Because I've said this before, we're like magnets. So the energy we put out is what we will attract. And like magnets do, they also repel. And so when we think about it like that, we can attract the people who we know will genuinely like us, or we don't have to worry about them not liking us. We can feel that genuine connection, and getting rid of anyone who's not able to offer that same sort of thing to us. So I hope that this kind of relaxed you into the idea that not everyone's gonna like you, and that is okay, because life's too short to give a shit about what everyone thinks. It's so true. When we stay in our lane, when we're intentional with our actions and our choices, life it gets easier, it gets better, and overall we're happier people. When you don't have to show up with a mask, when you don't have to play pretend, that's freedom right there. That is being empowered in your own life on your own journey. So I hope this episode spoke to you, and I hope you go into your week with a little boost of authenticity and the confidence to not be liked. Let's say it that way. Embrace not being liked this week and see how you feel next. And maybe that released a little bit of pressure. It might make you uncomfortable, but discomfort now is comfort later. So kind of think about it in that sense. But yeah, really bring awareness to the feelings that come up as you marinate on this topic this week. So all of that being said, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this episode spoke to you, and I can't wait to continue to share so much more. If you're feeling called, please subscribe and leave a review so together we can reach even more women who deserve to live their best life. And you can follow me on social at The Bitch in My Brain as I share my journey and life in real time. I can't wait to see you bitches next week. Take care.